All right, today we are digging into the wild, incredible, and let's be honest, kind of crazy story of Bitcoin.
You know, it all started not with some big bang, but more like a whisper. It was this idea floating around a pretty niche online community, so out there that most people probably thought it was just a fantasy. But oh boy, that pipe dream was about to take off.
And take off it did. I mean, from basically being worth nothing, zip. Bitcoin has just exploded. It's now an asset class with a market cap that's blown past $700 billion. That's a transformation that's almost hard to wrap your head around.
So the big question is, how did this happen? How on earth did a mysterious string of code, released by a creator nobody even knows, turn into what people are now calling digital gold? Well, let's get into it. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. We got to look at the blueprint, the original idea that laid out this whole vision for a totally new kind of money.
What's just mind-blowing here is the speed. I mean, look at this. In October 2008, Bitcoin is just words on a page, an idea. Less than 3 months later, the network is live, and just a few days after that, the first ever transaction happens. This wasn't just theory anymore, it was real, and it was happening fast.
So what exactly is Bitcoin? At its heart, it's a digital asset that runs on a public record book called the blockchain. It lets me send value directly to you or to anyone else. And here's the kicker. There are no middlemen, no bank, no government, no single person is in charge. That's the revolutionary part.
And this is the genius of its design. There's a fixed supply. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever be created, period. That hard cap means it's scarce, kind of like digital gold, which makes it a potential defense against inflation. On top of that, it's transparent, it's peer-to-peer, and you can divide it into tiny little pieces. It's designed to be both a store of value and a currency you can actually use.
And then you've got the mystery at the center of it all. The creator, who we only know as Satoshi Nakamoto, mined over 1 million Bitcoin at the very beginning, and then just vanished. Poof! Their wallet, which is worth tens of billions of dollars today, hasn't been touched since 2010. It adds this whole legendary, almost mythical feel to the entire story.
So a cool piece of code is one thing, right? But how did it get actual real-world value? This is where the story takes let's call it a delicious turn.
I want you to just look at this number for a second. 10,000. Back in the day, it was just a number on a screen. But today, it represents a moment in history that is, frankly, jaw-dropping. Because those 10,000 Bitcoin were used to buy 2 pizzas. No, I'm not kidding. 2 large pizzas. A deal that was worth, what, maybe 25 bucks at the time? Well, today, that same amount of Bitcoin is worth over $420 million. I think we can safely say that's the most expensive pizza order in human history.
And yep, that moment, May 22nd, is now celebrated by crypto fans every single year as Bitcoin Pizza Day. Why? Because it was the very first time Bitcoin was traded for a real physical thing. It proved it could be more than just code. It could actually be currency.
But the journey from there was anything but smooth. Bitcoin's early years were like the Wild West, chaotic, unregulated, and packed with scandals that almost killed it before it even got started.
I mean, it faced some serious tests. Its anonymity made it the go-to currency for the infamous Silk Road marketplace, which really hurt its reputation. Then, a massive bug created 184 billion fake Bitcoins out of thin air, threatening the whole idea of scarcity. And then came the Mt. Gox hack. The biggest exchange in the world at the time lost 850,000 Bitcoin and just collapsed. Confidence was shattered. Honestly, any one of those events should have been a death blow.
And at the same time, governments were completely baffled. They had no idea what to do with this thing. The US tried to regulate it, Germany kind of gave it a legal nod, and China just flat out banned its banks from dealing with it. It was just a time of pure confusion and uncertainty.
But here's the thing about Bitcoin. Because it's decentralized, nobody could just shut it down. So it didn't just survive, it started to thrive, kicking off these massive boom and bust cycles that finally got the whole world to pay attention.
So what's the engine driving these crazy cycles? It's a built-in feature called the halving. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine there's a gold mine, and every 4 years, the amount of new gold that can be found is suddenly chopped in half. This creates a supply shock, and for Bitcoin, this event has historically been the starting gun for its biggest, most explosive price rallies.
And the results were just spectacular. I mean, the 2017 bull run was stuff of legend. The price shot up to $20,000, and then it came crashing down by 85% a year later.
A lot of people were sure that was the end of it. But then, it happened all over again. In 2021, it blasted off to a new all-time high over $68,000 before, you guessed it, another painful crash. But with each one of these cycles, more people, more investors, and more believers came into the space.
And through all this, the old guard of finance was not impressed. Here you've got the CEO of the biggest bank in the world calling it a fraud, right at the peak of the 2017 hype. It was this classic David versus Goliath story, the new digital upstart against the entire financial establishment. And that brings us to today. After weathering all those storms, Bitcoin isn't just knocking on the door of mainstream finance anymore. The door has been kicked wide open, and it's being invited right in. So, what's next?
This was a total game changer. In 2024, the US government finally approved Bitcoin ETFs. That means anyone with a regular brokerage account can now easily invest in Bitcoin. And guess who was first in line to offer one? BlackRock, the biggest asset manager on the planet. The institutions are no longer coming, they are here.
And its adoption is happening all over the world. You've got 2 countries that have actually made it legal tender. You've got nations like Bulgaria holding it in their national reserves. And with over 100 million people worldwide now exposed to crypto, this is definitely not a niche little hobby anymore. It's a global movement. So we end up right back where we started, with a radical idea. Some very prominent investors think Bitcoin could soar to $1.5 million by 2030. So what is it? Is this really the future of finance, or is it the biggest bubble we've ever seen? The only thing we know for sure is that the next chapter in this incredible story hasn't been written yet.